What is the difference between pricing your home right or overpricing your home? I'll let you know the most common costly mistake sellers make in today's market. Stick around. Several horror stories pertaining to listing a home, buying a home, and most importantly, why is my home on the market for so long? So I'll meet with people and they've already used a real estate agent. And they'll ask, Paul, we don't know why our property didn't sell. And I'll explain to them, number one, the most common costly mistake a seller makes. And that mistake is they overprice the property. Number one, the most common costly mistake a seller makes. And that mistake is they overprice the property. They overprice the property. Number one is overpricing your property because the market time on your property goes up higher. You don't get the market value when you price higher. But also, people come into your property and they use that as a comparable to purchase something else. Hey, this 335 property, let's go take a look at it. Because we have a 325 right down the street or a few subdivisions over that's updated. That's nice. And now we can see this one as a comparable and say, wow, we just went ahead and made a nice decision because this one's priced right at 325. So the most common mistake that sellers make is they don't price their home properly. Is it their fault? Sometimes. Or the realtor's fault? Sometimes. A surefire way for it not to sell is pricing the property above what it is. So if the comparables are at $275,000 and your house fits in that comparable, you're like, well, my property's worth $300,000. My property's worth. So you list it for $315,000. That's a mistake. I had a seller, we got a cash offer. When I met with them, we talked about where the property should go and what the comparables were. Comparables were at about $315,000. So we get a cash offer for $315,000. My seller decides not to take that cash offer. In fact, he decides he wants to stay and keep the property on the market. Well, the property sold 2 years later. I was no longer the real estate agent. I took myself out of that transaction after I was with that person for a good 90 to 120 days. I took myself out of that equation. Seller was thinking that the property's worth more, and as a result, that property sat for 2.5 years, and it closed for about $250,000. So what a mistake to make when you think your property is priced higher or should be priced higher or is above the market. It's not. As a lender, when you have a buyer that's using a mortgage, a lender will come in and they will go ahead and do an appraisal on the property. And if the appraisal comes low, then you renegotiate. So if you bought a property for $335,000, you're going through the lending process, but the appraisal comes in at $330,000, then you renegotiate. You come down to $330,000, you figure it out. That's just what happens. Most importantly, make sure you can identify with the real estate agent. They can level with you, they're genuine, and they can give you the right price. I sit down with my sellers, I go over a seller's proceed sheet of an estimate of what they're going to get, what their costs are, but I also let them know the comparables. And this is where you need to be. You need a realtor that's going to tell you what's happening with the market, how it's happening. And as someone that's blessed enough to work with sellers, buyers, and investors, and renting properties for these investors, I'm well versed in the market. And I don't say that boastfully, it's just very humbly. Because I ask the right questions, I've been mentored by the right people. So mistake number one that takes away your time, takes away your energy, but most importantly, especially in the world we live today, it takes away money. You lose money when you overprice your home.